recording this album, I wanted to do differently than I had for the previous albums. You know, all the previous albums were done straight and by the book. You go in, lay down a click track, and then you slowly build your songs, you know, one instrument at a time. And we had done that for the Avenge album, the Justice album, and the Worst Case Scenario album.
The Avenge album took us months to record, and it was kind of a real weird situation.
And this album, knowing that it was going to be a punk album, I wanted to do something different because I wanted the album, I didn't want it to have that polished industry standard that Avenge had.
So we tried to go differently with this album. We were going to record it ourselves with me recording it, but due to equipment malfunction and me being a noob, we didn't really have the expertise we needed to record even what we wanted here, which is more of a live feel album.
I wanted this album to be done quick. I wanted us to come in, bing bang boom, get it out the way, and I felt like the only way we were going to have a chance of doing that was going to Music City and putting ourselves on a time limit, putting ourselves in a constraint situation that we had to perform. Because I only booked 10 hours at Music City Studios. Whatever we were going to get for this album, we were going to have to get it within a 10-hour tracking time frame.
So we decided to try to go ahead and go with Music City Studios, and it was really nice being in a professional studio environment and working through this.
The first day, we set up all of our studio time within a 2-week period. We set up 3 hours for the first night, and we were just going to see what happened that first night and then plan the rest of the studio time according to how that night went.
We basically paid for a 10-hour block, and the only way that was going to work with everything we had planned for this album was to get in there and get the majority of the music down very quickly.
I really didn't know what to expect, but it was pretty neat having a kid in an isolated room, and we all jammed together and could hear each other through the headphones.
And it was me, Jeremy Harrington, and Chris Lewis on drums, Scott Frick at the producer's helm. I love working with Scott. Whenever you work with Scott, you know there's not going to be any wasted time. There's not going to be any fooling around. Scott's in there to record. And if you're not there to record, then you shouldn't be in there.
Scott is amazing. There's things he hears that I don't hear. His sense of timing and rhythm is ridiculous. You just sit there and watch him work, and there's certain little things. It's like, okay, that sounds good, but he notices slight things off in timing, and he's moving things like half a second or less to get it perfect. He
was really easygoing and patient and professional at what he does.
And we knew it was going to be a pivotal moment. We knew that once we started tracking, it was live ammo, and we had to go. And we went. Let me see the tuner.
It's not a tuna. That burp was a little off key.
The fourth Hokage versus the nine-tailed fox. Who's just chilling right over there. We brought the nine-tailed fox with us to the studio. So we'll play it all the way through. When we get to that last note, we'll just hit it, Chris, and ring out. And then once it's done ringing out, I'll hit distortion and do the lead up, and then we'll come in and do the rest of the song.
I got you.
Extremely professional. It was just getting there, quick setup, quick go. You know, it was a very easy process.
So it was something new for me because I've never recorded like that. It's always just been kind of a mic in the room kind of thing. So it turned out really, really good for what it was worth.
I'm not gonna lie, like, it was a fantastic session. I mean, we just ran through the songs. It took us 3 months to write them, so we were very well rehearsed to the songs at that point, or at least I did.
We tracked 10 songs. I mean, we took a couple breaks to listen to things, smoke breaks and such. I would say probably, we had all 10 tracked in that 3 hours. I would say we probably spent about 2 hours and 15 minutes doing all of it, making sure we had it right, because there were missteps and false starts and such, of course.
You want to hear what it sounds like?
I do.
I don't want to set my bass on top of his brick.
They're all great. By the way, I mean, like, I don't think that he even realizes what this is about. All of these things are based off of anime and manga. Chris was a little nervous. He didn't feel like he knew the songs well enough to do it, but whenever we got in there, he was just a machine. And he, rarely lost time. There was no speed up or slow downs. Like, the whole time Chris was in the pocket.
It really wasn't that bad. I think I only had to retake a couple times, and it all went pretty smooth. So, yeah, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Just, we've been practicing this, let's just do it. And of course, old Chris, being the one who thought he was going to be worse for wear and wasn't sure he knew all the songs properly, was the only one of us to one take everything. So, yeah.
We had a few false starts, and I think Chris dropped a set of drumsticks during the middle of one song. But besides from that, for the most part, in those 3 hours that we were there, we ran through the entire album in 1 or 2 takes. A lot of it was one take situations that we were just like, that one was good. All right, let's move on to the next one. Or like we got all the way to the end and would mess up, so we would just, Scott would be like, you want me to just patch you in? Like, no, just start it over from the top, we'll do it again. And we nailed it the second time. It was a lot of stuff like that.
For just some raw tracks, they were pretty decent, so I knew we were going to have a good result after that.
And so at the end of the first 3 hours, we had guitar, bass, and drums for the entirety of the album. And I felt very good about future prospects.